say. If I'm a rule you're breaking, I still want you either way. So alright, okay, come talk to me anyway. I think you'll stay. Alright, okay, they're talking about me, who cares anyway? I hope you'll say alright, okay. Alright, okay. Scarlet letter around my neck. You're kinda shy and I'm into it. Gossip's nothing but just that. So don't be the love I never had. No. Alright, okay, come talk to me anyway. I think you'll stay. Alright, okay, they're talking about me, who cares anyway? I hope you'll say alright, okay. Alright, okay. Alright, okay. Alright, okay. You break it, you buy it, don't know if you like it. You're not at the stock market, I'm not a bid. I'm free, I'm a devil, I'm yours, I'm an angel. No, I'm not a dead wish, sure as hell in heaven. But alright, okay. Alright, okay. Alright, okay. What do you say? Alright, okay, come talk to me anyway. I think you'll stay. Alright, okay, they're talking about me, who cares anyway? I hope you'll say alright, okay. Alright, okay. Alright, okay.
Yo sé muy bien cómo decirte que la cosa va a cambiar, porque cuando más te necesito, tú siempre estás. Si entendieras que mi vida es triste, si tú en ella ya no estás, solo quiero estar de nuevo contigo y no separarme más. Que tú me das todo lo que llevas dentro, que fue lo mejor, que nos separara el tiempo. Que si te vas, yo te juro que me muero. No quiero perderte ahora que por fin te encuentro. Dime si quieres arriesgarte, si te lo juegas todo, amor. Dime si apuestas por nosotros, que solo somos tú y yo. Dime si juntos llegaremos a enloquecernos por amor. Te necesito aquí a mi lado, no te vayas, por favor. Siento que el calor corre en mis venas, ya me late el corazón. Yo que pensé que no sentiría desde el último desamor. Te invito a que vueles conmigo y perdamos la razón. Esa es la aventura que vivimos, disfrutemos la ocasión. Que tú me das todo lo que llevas dentro, que fue lo mejor, que nos separara el tiempo. Que si te vas, yo te juro que me muero. No quiero perderte ahora que por fin te encuentro. Dime si
So we are getting right into the thick of things.
Right into it.
You said
jumping in.
You said yes before I finished my sentence.
I was going to finish your sentence.
What if I was going to say we're going to put donuts on Kinsman's head, and you automatically said yes?
Yeah. As they say, what do they say? When you assume, you put an ass in front of you and me. Right?
No, that's not how it goes.
Is that how that works?
That's not how it goes at all there, kids.
But we are diving into it. We've got double guests tonight.
Yeah.
First half with Corey Lepage from the Timmins NDP, with elections happening on Thursday, and we've got a big meeting, which is happening at the Timmins Public Library, March 4th and 5th. We're going to be chatting with two exceptional guests on the second half of this show.
Yeah, so no banter, but the one important thing to banter about is our Wheel of Winning prize tonight. If Ronnie could throw up the overlay. So this is what we got here, Kinsman. We got 2 toques from Camp Bickell.
Yes, 2 toques, and we're also giving away a family deal, a pass to Midtown Bowl.
Yeah, that is awesome.
So lots of winning.
So, we've seen a lot of Corey, and we appreciate him and his team, but there's so much, to talk about that you can only capture in a live video or one show. And Corey had mentioned like to come on and reiterate some stuff, and maybe this is our last opportunity to chat live before the election. So thanks for coming back, by the way.
Absolutely. I'm always happy to be here. You guys are great, so I'm always coming back.
He looked right at me when you said
use on our platform.
I think we had a moment for a sec, actually. But
talking through to our audience through our platform, which is always welcomed here in the city.
So that's right. So we're Thursday's the election. Get out and vote. And we're really going to open up the door. So what are some of the things you want folks to think of as they go to cast their votes? Or some folks have done it early, but what are some of the pressing topics? And I know there's a bunch, but what's the first one you'd like to chat about?
Well, I'll just start off by just quickly, because I've done it in the other 2 interviews, but just in the case that anyone who hasn't watched the other 2, I'll just introduce myself quickly as a candidate. So I consider myself what I call a Tommy Douglas New Democrat. I'm looking at the wrong camera here. And what that is essentially I consider myself a fiscally responsible New Democrat with ambitious ideas. Tommy Douglas was the premier of Saskatchewan some time ago, and he brought us universal health care. But that wasn't before he balanced the budget and he solidified his economy. And that's the type of policy that I believe in, and it's the type of policy that our NDP in Ontario believes in. And it's the type of policy that works, because here we are in 2025 still benefiting from a great idea like universal health care. And we have some really ambitious ideas in this for Ontario right now as a party, as our platform. And I'm really excited for the platform that we presented for the people of Ontario. And a lot of the questioning is, well, how is that going to get done? Well, how we're going to get it done is by being responsible and by being efficient, because that's what we need to do as a government. We can't be spending on things on things that don't benefit the people of Ontario, and that's how we're going to bring our ambition and our ideas to the province. So so that's enough talking about me. We'll lean into some real important issues we could discuss, and we've discussed things like healthcare, like housing, like affordability, like education. These are all important issues, and I want to touch base on a couple that we haven't discussed profoundly in the other interviews. But I will touch base quickly on things like healthcare. So we need more family doctors in the north of Ontario and Timmins and throughout the province. It's without a doubt. And we have a plan to do that. So first of all, something that we're going to do is we're going to double the amount of residency spots at the college in Thunder Bay, so that we can get more trained doctors. We can train more doctors in our community. We're also going to look at the amount of foreignly trained healthcare professionals that we have living in Ontario, like I've mentioned before, and we're going to make sure that those who are qualified to work can get to work. And that is how we're going to deliver more family doctors to Ontario and to the north. So those are very important points to touch base on. And healthcare is a very broad topic, right? We could talk about preventative care. We could talk about mental health care. We can talk about, RNs, nurses, across the board. There's so much to talk about. But one thing as well that I'll mention is we're going to bring mental health services under OHIP, so that you don't have to pay out of pocket when you need mental health services. And we see that increasingly, especially in youth, in my bracket of generation, where we can really benefit from mental health services. it's not important just for our generations, it's important for everyone who needs access to that, because a lot of times you see people going without those services for years and years, and then they go through a burnout, and then they need to take months off of work to be able to recuperate, and then they need to pay out of pocket, because at that point they do need to see mental health professionals.
So I'm happy you mentioned that. So two things in regards to mental health. So if you are one of the fortunate ones who has a benefit plan through your employer, please check your benefit plan for, it's normally called EAP or EFAP, that's Employee Assistance Plan or Employee Family Assistance Plan. And normally that's, they provide you with a number you call. Your employer never knows why you called or what you called for.
That's right.
This covers you and your entire family, and it will link you to a whole bunch of services for people going through quote-unquote personal issues. And I say that because it's a wide spectrum.
It's a wide spectrum.
Now, that's if you're privileged enough to have a benefit plan.
Absolutely.
The other piece is, what if you don't, the majority? And I agree with what you're saying. So if I'm going through a mental health crisis, and I don't have benefit coverage. Maybe I've lost my job or I can't find a job at the moment, and I want help. But if I want help, and I saved there, Kinsman, but if I want help, and I go to see someone to assist me, but then I'm going to get a bill for $300-400, and one of my issues causing me stress is my income.
Yeah.
That's an immediate
That's a
barrier.
big problem.
And the thing with mental health services, it's not the type that it's a one shot and you're done, right? It's a type of service that you need to do over time. You can't just have one appointment and your issues are solved. It's something that takes time for a lot of people, and it is something that ends up costing people a lot of money, because you do need to have many appointments for a lot of people to get to the point where they feel better and they're not going through a burnout, or some who are unemployed and they can't find a job because they're going through a mental health crisis. It applies to so many different people. And we have great services actually here in Timmins, but we need to expand that in the north. So we're going to bring in more mental health care practitioners in the north, so that we have better access to mental health services, and while it being covered under OHIP, so that the people can get the needs that they need, the things that they need. And because we often talk about healthcare, and mental health is a big part of healthcare. Healthcare is a very broad topic, so it's very important.
And then the other piece, I'm looking at Kinsman's whiteboard. I don't need it, but the font is incredibly small here, Ken. Like, how long did it take you to put that?
You can't read
people
that?
can see.
I can
no one can. We need Ant-Man to shrink down and read the letters.
You can read fine.
Now, of course, that's the first thing Corey and I told you.
I can't defend you on that one, unfortunately.
The other piece is, like, everyone knows we're in a crisis in our community. We have a beautiful community, but we have some things that need to get better. We're at a crisis. We have people that are living on the street that are suffering from addictions or homeless. And then at the other end, we have a community, a portion of our community, if not all, are either fearful or scared or getting broken into. A whole variety of issues that, we feel like we're not safe in our own community.
That's right.
We're never going to solve it with one statement, and it's a very complex problem.
Exactly.
But what is your position? Like, how do we get the ball rolling in the right direction?
So the first thing that I'll say is what we've been already doing is talking about it, right? It's become such an issue over the years of non-action that it's created a huge stigma around people with mental health disorders, addiction, or who are homeless. And I don't blame people for being scared for their safety. I don't blame businesses for also being scared for the safety of their business and the effects that it's having on their businesses in our downtown area. And, it's not just in Timmins, of course. We understand that it's an issue throughout the province. But I've said it before, we have the third highest opioid-related death rate in Ontario. So, of course, it's a huge issue that we need to talk about, first of all, because many politicians aren't talking about it, especially the current government. Their solutions have been to place what I like to say, placing Band-Aids on the problem. That's not a long-term solution. Building more encampments without any other solutions, it's not a solution. It would actually cost us less money on the province side long-term if we were to invest in preventative healthcare services, in treatment centers, and in housing. Because right now, these people who are living on our streets with either mental health disorders, illnesses, or addiction end up in our ERs, or end up, putting a large burden on our police officers who can't keep up with the problems that we're having, and it's putting a burden on our businesses and the safety of our people. It's a huge issue that we need to tackle. What the NDP is proposing is to me, a common sense solution. It's not placing a Band-Aid on issues as they come. It's dealing with the root of the issue, which is this is a mental health crisis. We need to have more treatment centers throughout Ontario, throughout the north of Ontario as well, so that the people who want help have access to the help they need right away. If someone on the street has an addiction or a mental health disorder and is homeless and wants help one day, they're not going to wait a year or 2 years or more to get the services they need. By that time, they're going to have lost hope, and who knows if they're still living on the street. You know, anything can happen in these situations. So we need to have treatment centers who offer services right away, and it doesn't end there, because when they've done treatment, we don't want them back on the streets because the cycle is only going to continue. So what we need to have in place is supportive housing units so that when they're done treatment, they have a roof over their head with some form of either RN or mental health professional who's there to support them while they are looking to reintegrate themselves into society, whether it's finding a job and finding a place to actually go and live in the long term. So this is the type of solution that we're proposing, and it's a solution that will work.
And again, you know, there's a petition going out online now. Where would you like to see these little mini encampments popping up?
Yeah.
And again, you know, that's a Band-Aid on the solution.
Absolutely,
It's
because
like putting spitting on a campfire, trying to put it out.
that's the way I view it. And if you look at statistics, encampments are a short-term solution because they don't solve the root cause of the issue. You're going to have to keep building encampments and more encampments over the years because we're only going to have more and more people on the streets with illness and addiction. It's not solving that problem. We need to get them off the streets. That's what we need to do. Encampments, and again, people, it's a controversial topic. We don't know where we want our encampments, and trust me, I understand. I live in Timmins. I know that if we put it in a residential area, you know, we have a list of issues that we'd be concerned about as residents, but we can't put them in the bush either because people are not going to want to go out of their community or out of their way to get services that they need. And right now we're talking about encampments, so we're not really even talking about critical services that we need to be providing.
You need the encampments. You need people to monitor these encampments.
Yes.
You know, they need to be run properly.
Yeah.
To keep people, at peace, and maybe deter some of the crime rate that happens within these encampments.
That's right, and it's not long term to deter the crime rates. If you have encampments, you need to place them outside of residential areas. You know, if you think about it quickly, but at the end of the day, like I said, if you place it in the bush somewhere, no one's going to be going out to these encampments or because they don't have access to the services, don't have access to what they need in town. So you're still going to see people coming back in town and not going to the encampments because it's far from everything. It doesn't work. We're spending money on on ideas that aren't proper solutions, and we need to change the way that we think about these things.
So we got to watch our time. Don't drive Corey down a rabbit hole here, Kinsman, because you don't want to. He has lots to talk about here, and we have two guests today.
Does,
I got to keep you in line too here, Kinsman.
I do want to talk about also because.
Well, do you mind if I ask a question first? Because I really want to give an opportunity for the viewers. So a question we've had from a couple of viewers is, they're hearing about, your platform. So the grocery rebate, bringing in additional doctors, assisting people with mental health issues. But the common question we're getting is, what Joanne's posting there is, where is the money coming from? Because things cost money.
Absolutely.
That's the nature of life.
Yes, that's right.
So what is the NDP plan to, support these things financially?
Yeah, well, it kind of goes a little bit in line with what I said at the beginning of the interview, a little bit, with the way that I consider myself a Tommy Douglas Democrat, which means that I am fiscally responsible. We have ambitious ideas. We have a fully costed platform. We know how much these things will cost. In the long run, in the long term of things, these issues that if we don't deal with them right away, will end up costing us a lot more down the road than if we deal with them right now. So actually, in the long term, what we're doing is saving the province money by being more efficient. So that's one thing about it. For example, like our healthcare crisis, our crisis in schools. If we wait another 10 years instead of and keep underfunding our schools and post-secondary educations, we're going to be in the position in 10 years from now that we're going to have to spend billions and billions to repair our schools because they're going to be in a state of non-repair. So it's going to cost us a lot more money if we wait than if we invest now. in regards to mental health, addiction, what we just talked about, it's costing us a lot, and it's putting strain on our police officers, it's putting strain on our ERs, and overall our whole healthcare system because we aren't dealing with the issue properly. So it costs us in those ways because instead of preventative care, we're having to deal with the tail end of where the issue has gone so big, it's costing us more money to deal with it at that point. So in that way is where I see it being more common sense investments for the long term of our province. And also we can't say that the current Ford government is spending the money in all the right places. They are being wasteful of a lot of taxpayer dollars right now, which could have been used to put funding in things like healthcare and things like education. I mentioned this last couple of times because I think it's a great example. The Ford government spending $3 billion on one-time $200 rebates. It's nice, thank you for the government to have sent us a small check in the mail, but that's not going to help many people. It's going to help some people buy more groceries for a month, but the rest of the year it's not going to help us. And it cost us $3 billion. That could have been used to staff more nurses in the hospital. That could have been used to provide more support to our educators in our schools. So it's that type of ideology that I believe in. Spend the money in the right places, be efficient, and priorities. Priorities are the one thing. Again, breaking contracts with the beer store is going to end up costing the province over $2 billion. He didn't have to do that before the election, but here we are. We broke contract and it's costing us a lot of taxpayer dollars. Again, could have been used towards more, towards things that should be higher on the list of priorities, like education, like healthcare and housing.
We have, I see on one of the speaking points is childcare, and I don't think we've chatted about this before. So you have a family that realizes that, maybe they want a secondary income. Two people want to work. But then when you go out, you go to work, and then your childcare costs are either was equal or more than what you're making
So often you're
at
seeing
the employment.
One of the two income earners in the household when they have kids, especially at a certain age where they're taking leave from work so that they can take care of the child at home because it actually ends up costing them less than it would to both be at work all the time and pay for childcare. This is an idea that was proposed a long time ago and it's not properly implemented, it's not fully implemented. So part of the NDP platform will be to bring true $10 a day childcare to Ontario. We've seen it in other provinces and it works. And that's something that we need to bring because we can't punish people for having children. We need to encourage families to settle down and have children so that we are investing in the future of our province. And the fact that everything costs so much, especially having a child, we already know that the cost of groceries skyrockets when you have kids, not only on diapers when they're babies, but on food on its own. It's incredible. I'm sure you have children yourself. I'm sure you know how expensive it is. And like we mentioned, another thing we will do is bring a grocery rebate to those families who exactly can't afford to put meal on their place at the end of the day. We're going to bring up to $120 a month for groceries. Which we're not telling you where to spend your money. What we're going to do is see how much income your household earns, how many people you have in your household, and if you need it, you'll receive it. It's not a one-time thing, it's a continuous thing. We're not telling you to go spend it on this and that. You can use it as you wish. Because that's one question I've actually received. Are you telling us where to spend our money? No, that's not what we're doing. What we're doing is adding income to your monthly account so that you have more money to make sure that your kids have food on their plate. And it comes down to that because, again, we're talking about issues that affect everyday people, and that's always what the NDP has in mind, supporting the average working day person. We want people to get to work. We don't want people to stay home to take care of their child because childcare is too expensive. And especially when they need to be affording to pay for groceries, to pay for rent, which we've talked about. And it's another thing that we will do. We will bring back rent control in Ontario, which was disregarded by Doug Ford's government in 2018. And since, rents across Ontario, even in the Timmins, have skyrocketed by over 37%. If you're a renter, I'm a renter myself. I know rent's expensive, let alone having to buy yourself your own home. So in a sense, you're forced to be a renter, and rent is so unaffordable, you're not able to save up to buy your home eventually. So it's a cycle that doesn't work.
Yeah. There's a lot of, as beautiful as a country we have and beautiful as a province, I'll say that forever, there's always things that we need to get on right away. And I always wonder, when the new government gets elected, see if the NDP's in power, how long does it take to put in effect some of these things you're campaigning for? So for example, the grocery rebate. A lot of families, $120 is a big deal to get into their pocket.
Nice little boost. Yeah.
How long does it take? Is this a week? Is this a month? Is this a year?
Yeah, well, I'm not able to provide a time frame to say that within 2 months we'll start receiving this rebate because I don't think that it's been specified. But it's not something that should take a long time because when we form government, we'll make a budget. We will know where to spend where our priorities are, and when we form a budget, we will be able to get back to the people of Ontario with these promises. So I'm not going to give a time frame, but if we have an NDP government formed government, we know that we care about the people, and it'll come as soon as possible because we understand people are struggling, and it comes down to that. So I wouldn't say that it's within a week or two because it does take time to make legislation, especially the type of government that's formed. But we can trust in the fact that if the NDP form government, that it will come as quickly as we can. And I know that we're kind of heading into, I realize that we're a little bit shorter on time today, but I did want to make a quick point to talk about, I met with the Ontario Nurses Association today, they were amazing people. Tara was here with us, and we had great conversations. Mark was there with us as well, and he, I think that's some very important issues that we have to talk about. So the NDP actually proposed Bill 192 last year to the legislature, which means that we would increase the amount of nurses for the amount of patients that we have in our hospitals, so that because a nurse shouldn't have to choose, a nurse who's taking care of critical care patients who are on ventilators, she shouldn't be put in a position where she has multiple patients on her floor that she's in charge of taking care of, or he or she, and that when they're taking care of one patient, there's a crisis in another room and they need to make a decision on who to take care of first. We should not have to deal with that as patients, as RNs in Ontario, and we shouldn't have to put up with that in one of the richest countries in the world, and such a rich country of Ontario, our province of Ontario. We actually have the lowest RN to resident ratio in Ontario throughout all of Canada, which means we have the least amount of nurses working in our hospitals per the amount of people in the province. And that is sad. So the bill that we proposed, the NDP proposed last year, was to make sure that we get more nurses into the workforce through different means because nurses are discouraged. 8,000 nurses, this is a conversation that I spoke with Tara, the part of the Ontario Nurses Association. 8,000 nurses left the workforce last year, which is more than the amount of nurses who left the workforce during COVID. Obviously, we have a huge issue on our hands. Our nurses are not feeling supported. They're being put into positions that they don't want to be in because when you're a nurse, you care about what you do. You want to take care of your patients, and currently, the current government's not letting them do that. The Conservatives actually voted against Bill 192. So when I'm elected MPP, and whatever happens this election, if I have to fight tooth and nail, I will be the advocate for our healthcare professionals at Queen's Park. And I found it very important to mention that because we had great conversations with the ONA today, and it's just truly a cause that I believe in because it affects so many of us. We deserve proper healthcare in our hospitals. Our parents, our family don't deserve to be put fifth on the list because our RN has to deal with too many patients at the same time. My dad, again, has been at the hospital for 4 months, and he's not a critical care patient. But when you have a stroke, you have other disabilities you have to take care of, and he's had roommates. When you have to wait for a nurse for so long that you end up, peeing your pants, that's not humane. We need to have patient-to-care ratios that make sense. And sorry, I did want to talk about that, but now we can lean into more of the closing if you'd like.
I know you've had a couple moments of great support over the weekend, and we appreciate the invite. We should say this, Kinsman, before we let Corey close. I've seen a couple questions like, where is the provincial candidates debate in our community? There was no debate. We did reach out in all transparency. We did reach out to all the parties to come and join us. Corey was the only one that accepted our invitation.
3 times.
3 times, yeah. The trifecta. And he laughed at the jokes all the time. Can you believe that? But there was an equal opportunity to come on our platform and have a discussion. So I just wanted to say that because there was a couple questions, and we have been getting messages. Because if you want to make an informed vote, an educated vote, you do like to hear from all the candidates.
That's right.
Anyways, I think we should get into this. So I love this point. Like, why should people vote for you? I mean, we have a decision
Great
to make on
question.
Thursday. I know it's a big one, but what do you think you're going to bring to the table?
So the type of representation that I will bring to the table, I believe in listening to the people, working with the people, because as a politician, some might like to pretend that, but we don't have all the answers. I'm not an expert when it comes to healthcare, mental health, addiction, when it comes to being a school teacher who's been in the sector for 25 years. That's the people that we need to talk with, and that's exactly what I've been doing during this campaign. It's just so important. In order to bring proper solutions to the table and to make Ontario a better place to live, to make Timmins a better place to live, we need to speak to the people who are living the problems and who know what the solutions are. We need to listen to them. We need to talk and work together. And that's something that we're lacking, not only in Timmins, throughout Ontario a lot of times, but that's the type of representative that I will be. And everyone that I've spoken to so far, whether it be women's crisis centers or units in the TADH or the Nurses Association, across the board, I've taken the time to sit down with them, to hear what the issues are, to have conversations, to understand what it is. Because you can't, as a politician or as an MPP, go to Queen's Park and pretend to advocate for things that you don't know anything about. And that's the type of representative that I will be. Gilles Bisson was that type of representative for 32 years. His door at the constituents, at the office, was always open. If you had any type of issue, even if it's something that we couldn't deal with, we guided you in the right way. It's not an issue of of something we can't take care of provincially, so find your own solutions. No. We need to have an MPP who helps anyone who has any kind of issue. If it's not something that we deal with, we guide them in the right direction. If it is something that we can deal with, we learn about the issue and we fight for it. We bug the heck out of the ministers at Queen's Park to make sure that we get what we need in Timmins. That is the type of MPP that I will be, and why it's so important that we elect me as our NDP candidate here in Timmins, because we need to flip as many seats as possible in this election, right? I've always said I'm a realist kind of person. I say it how it is. The chances of us forming a majority government with the NDP is less likely. But at the very least, what we need to make sure is that Doug Ford and the Conservatives don't have free reign over Ontario for the next 4 years. If we can bring them down to a minority government by flipping as many seats as possible, then they will be forced to work with us for the next 4 years. And the people of Ontario will have real voices who fight for real change, positive change. In this province. Right now, we have a government that seems to do whatever they want and who don't advocate on the real issues that we're dealing with. The Ford government, including our local MPP, don't talk about the issue that we have on our streets. They know there's an issue. It's gotten worse in the last 7 years. But what are the solutions? A little bit of funding for encampments. That's not a real solution. As your MPP, I know what our issues are because I speak with the people who are dealing with the issues, the experts that know what the solutions are, and that is exactly what I will be doing every day as our MPP, bringing those solutions to Queen's Park, and if need be, fight tooth and nail, like I said, to make sure that we are not forgotten here in the North, to make sure that we get the funding we need for real services that will actually work.
Oh, very good. I mean, at the end of the day, Mark and I hold anyone that's going to run to represent our community, no matter what color you represent, we have a lot of respect for. Because everyone's main goal is to make our community a better place.
Absolutely.
And that does take some courage.
It takes a lot of courage.
It does take...
You get the keyboard warriors, they can type what they want,
just not
but
that,
you're putting your hat in the ring and standing up and doing something.
Your private life
find a
becomes
solution.
very public, and acceptably so, because you have to answer to the voters. You're open to constructive criticism and feedback, as you should. But it does take a lot of courage to get out there and stand up for what you believe in.
And just to say again, I've been having such a good time coming on the show and speaking to you guys. And even though I understand that, not everyone, like you said, you're going to have those keyboard warriors. Not everyone's going to agree with you, but I truly believe that we can bring positive change to Timmins. And I know that most people in Timmins believe that as well. We want positive change. You're hearing from me as your candidate. Unfortunately, I'm the only candidate who's been speaking in these types of outlets. I've been speaking with these fine gentlemen a couple of times, 3 times now, talking with the media, pushing for debate. So we should really question ourselves. Of course, our MPP, George, I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm not here to mudsling. I'm sure he has his intentions in the right places, but he, along with across the board of Ontario, all our Conservative candidates have been told by Doug Ford not to speak to the media, not to do debates. So we really have to question ourselves, why should we trust politicians who aren't willing to even speak in front of the people before an unnecessary election 3 days from now? And how can we trust them to advocate and be a strong voice for us at Queen's Park after this? Doug Ford called an early election in the middle of winter. I believe he knew exactly what he was doing, but we're here to show Doug that he can't just treat Ontarians like this. We're here for positive change, and we need to bring Timmins and Ontario in the right way forward.
Well, there he is, Kinsman.
Yes.
Pound or handshake today?
We're going pound.
Let's go the fist pounds there.
Did you? You didn't want to be
I
the
did
guy
the
with the
fist
handshake. You could have went in the middle there.
Yeah,
We could have did
could've made it
something
a little
cool,
bit
Marvel.
awkward, but yeah.
Opportunity gone. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Coming up next, we have 2 amazing guests.
Yes,
by the
we
way,
do.
Lori.
There's a big meeting coming up
Yeah.
March 4th and 5th. We're going to be chatting about that meeting at the Timmins Public Library.
That's right there,
Very
Kinsman's.
important meeting.
And our Wheel of Winning, and we're going to get to them right after this break, Ronnie.
For the best security and peace of mind, you need to call Martin Peel today at Pat's Canine Protection and Detection Services. Martin also does mobile security patrols and alarms. Call today for a quote, 705-288-7435. And book an ultimate pizza party today at Midtown Bowl. Up to 6 bowlers, 1 pizza, 1 jug of juice or pop, and up with 6 $10 Fun Zone game cards and shoe rental for only $139.99. Call to book your fun now, 705-267-3500. Wednesday, June 4th and Thursday, June 5th are where all eyes will be for the Timmins Canadian Mining Expo. Jack Lake competition, hundreds of vendors, and more. For more details, log on to CanadianMiningExpo.com. Tickets are on sale now for the Timmins Comedy Festival, April 24th through 26th, with the roast of Paul Bellini from Kids in the Hall, Comedy at the Dante Club with Dave Maherge. How about Magic Mel, a free Dare show with Dare Timmins? And win cash with Adam Groh live at Timmins High. Tickets are on sale now at timminscomedy.ca. Can't get to Chow this week? Then bring Chow to you. Chow Sandwich & Co. want to cater your lunch office this week. Inquire today, chowsandwich@gmail.com, or stop in and see Ryan and Kennedy, located at 177 3rd Avenue in your downtown. Supporting someone with dementia, the You First program equips care partners and healthcare staff with the skills to manage behavior changes and provide personal-centered care one-on-one. Inquire today with Alzheimer's Society Cochrane-Temiskaming, 705-268-4554. And there's a meeting coming up March 4th and 5th at the Timmins Public Library, where parents and caregivers can share their experiences with challenges navigating services for their children and family members. All are welcome to attend. Vote Corey Lepage for the Timmins NDP. Corey will put the brakes on rising costs, hiring new doctors here in the north, make your highways safer, lowering your rent, and provide monthly grocery rebates. Stop by his campaign office this week for a sign or to say hi, located 84 Cedar Street South. For an all-natural cleaning product, try TNT's all-natural cleaning products. Safe for pets and safe for your kids. Call today, 705-406-4578. Coming off a big win over the Timmins Rock this weekend, the Storm gets set to take on the Espanola Paper Kings. This Saturday night at the Igloo, puck drops at 7:30. Tickets on sale now, ifstormjra.com. And stop in for a Sparks lunch meal deal this week at Sparks Pizza. An 8-inch personal pizza, pop, and a bag of chips for only $13 every day from 11 a.m. to 2:30. Dine in at 206 3rd Avenue or order yours online at sparkspizza.ca. J&R Custom Cabinets are having a flooring sale. Save 10% off Fusion flooring right now. Plus, receive a free laminate countertop with the purchase of a complete kitchen. See in store for details, located at 1150 Riverside Drive. Lucian Transportation is now hiring 310T, 310S certified mechanics and bus drivers. Bus drivers will get a $2,000 sign-on bonus, and it's paid training. Drop off your resume today to 42 McChesney Road, Timmins, or call 705-360-4090. With more than 75 programs to choose from, your future career awaits you at Northern College. Enroll today, northerncollege.ca. Need a new caterer? Then try Attawapiskat Catering. They are the sole catering service providers for the De Beers Victor mine site. Call today, 705-267-5547. And early bird summer camp registrations are still on at Camp Bickell. Sign up now and save 10%. You can even sign up online now on their brand new website at campbickell.ca. And happy 90th anniversary to the Schumacher Lions Club, serving and giving back to our community since 1935. To keep tabs on all the businesses in your downtown, you need to follow the Downtown Timmins BIA. You can do so online at downtowntimmins.com. With over 45 years courier experience here in the North, put the trust in the hands of Robert Champagne at Timmins Courier Service. Move your packages today, 705-266-4285. Do you have a do-it-yourself job but don't have the tools? Then call Gord's Rentals today. They have it for you. With jobs big or small, call 705-268-7029 or drop in and see them, 778 Riverside Drive. She's the producer of Sportsman Channel Canada and Just Hunt Inc., Amanda Lynn Mayhew. And the first and only First Nations-owned security provider in Northern Ontario is Advanced Security Protective Services, based right here in Timmins, 705-267-5547. And 234 acres are now available in Black River, Matheson with Jessica Gervais from Royal Lepage and Northern Realty Leaders. Call Jessica now, 705-360-7000. And Dare Timmins brings Magic Mel to the city, a part of the Timmins Comedy Festival. It's a free show for the kids, April the 26th, 2 p.m. at Timmins High. Details and tickets at timminscomedy.ca. In time to register your child for kindergarten this September with the Northeastern Catholic District School Board. To book a tour with Pope Francis or St. Joseph's School, log on to ncdsb.on.ca. And the Rock on the River lineup is very close to being released. Want to follow TFEC online for all the details, timminsfestivals.com. And on the big screen at Imagine Cinemas this week, The Monkey, The Unbreakable Boy, and Paddington in Peru. Tickets and showtimes at imaginecinemas.com. And the PMHA wishing all teams a great run into the playoffs next month. Follow all the details online at the PMHA Facebook page. And come play the final Friday Funds event at Jackpot Times Timmins. Happens this Friday, $50, which includes a 3-strip dabbing pack, $5 TapTix card, and dinner special for you. Reserve your seat now at 251 First Avenue. And the final week to book a seat on board our first ever NHL bus trip to Ottawa, March 28th through 30th, $665 per person, which includes a coach there and back, courtesy of Tisdale Coach Lines, 2 nights hotel accommodation, and your Sens game ticket. Email us today, kinsandklomp@gmail.com if you want to come. And it's the final week of the clearance sale at Canadian Tire Timmins. Exercise equipment, outdoor apparel, hunting, ice fishing, skidoo wear, and more. It all ends on Friday, so stop by Canadian Tire Timmins this week. And join Mel and Mel this week when they take the Week Out Talk Show to Canadore College in North Bay. Happens Thursday night at 7 p.m. as they chat celebrating failures. And the Timmins Majors hit the road for a doubleheader against the Sioux Junior Greyhounds this weekend. Follow all the action online at timminsmajors.com. And book your March carpet cleaning, strip and wax jobs today with DAP Cleaning Solutions. Residential commercial cleaning excellence guaranteed. Call for your free quote, 705-465-3500. And seal the deal with this guy, Albert Seal from Royal Lepage, your Northern Realty Leaders. Check out these new listings on Claim Post Trail, Crescent Avenue, and Jade Avenue, and more. Contact Albert for a showing, 705-465-3493. And save the date, Thursday, March 13th, for the March in March. It's a mission to ignite the light inside of every individual. Deliver hope, understanding, wisdom, respect, and love. Stay tuned for more details.
You like that new transition
Yes,
there,
I like
Kinsman?
that, yeah.
That's right. It
Very
makes you
spiffy for a
makes
Monday.
you feel good after your voice.
It does.
Does it make you feel like the Holy Father?
Don't let that
get
go to my head.
Yeah, That's right.
here in the studio.
So we have two amazing guests with us today.
Yes, we do.
Good.
We've got Ed Belliard
Yeah.
and we've got Amanda Ems joining us, Studio 67. Probably seated in our, our midday blast, our sponsor reel tonight. There's a big meeting coming up March 4th and 5th. People probably wondering, what is this meeting about?
Yeah, that's right.
It's for adults who have an intellectual disabilities, and they're waiting for DSO, talking about having a living with an intellectual disability and being happy, getting jobs, talking about services that are lacking in the north for intellectual disabilities. This is why we're hosting it.
Yeah, navigating services.
Navigating services,
And, yeah,
talking about wait lists.
brainstorming, all that,
Yeah.
all that sort of
So-
stuff.
And answering a lot of questions.
Yes.
Maybe, parents, caregivers
Yeah.
need some answers, or maybe struggling with certain
Services.
decisions, or maybe wait times.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, like we are even also talking about, talking about how long is a family getting in? How long does a family get participate in DSOs? Okay, so one mother said to me, 4 years she's waiting right now. 4 years just to get on the wait list.
So let's just
ridiculous.
backtrack a little bit. So what you folks are doing is incredibly amazing, and I know that's two words that you don't need to put together, but it really is. So there are families out there and caregivers who are struggling because they don't have enough supports in place.
Yes.
And what you're doing is you're hosting this meeting where people can get together,
Yes.
talk about what they're struggling for, and become an advocate for these individuals in the community.
And push for these
That's-
services.
Yes.
That's big
Yes.
time.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
That is an amazing thing because it all needs to start with a discussion, correct?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Yeah.
And collaboration from different
Collaboration.
parties, different stakeholders.
It is awesome. So you're doing it in a public forum. So once again, this is March the 4th.
March 4th and 5th at the Timmins Public Library, and it's free to attend.
It's free to attend.
Yes.
We have
Just show
40
up.
people maximum in a small room. 40 people. We're doing
It's a 2-hour event.
2-hour
per
event.
night.
Yeah.
And the intention is to have discuss more the adults.
Yes.
With developmental disabilities
services.
and their families.
And we're not the only one who's doing it. Sudbury's done it. Toronto's doing it. North Bay's doing it. There's many other groups that are doing it. And what we want to do is get the numbers out there so the government can fight for adults who have an intellectual disability. Even if you're just starting out and don't know where to fill out those forms, maybe one night we'll have somebody come in, an old social worker come in and say, I'll fill out those forms with you and help you out. We also want the group homes, people who used to work in group homes or people who are working in the group homes to come out for one evening, come and speak to us. We want the information from you because you're on the front line.
If they've
You're
got
in-
some questions that need to be answered
Yes.
or struggles that
Yes.
they're dealing with.
what they're
Yes.
dealing with.
Yes.
Like, what do they see the future for development disabilities? What do you see in
Right.
Timmins? And let's bring that into a table and talk about it. You know?
That is
But
pretty,
the numbers
pretty
are
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, we're having a bit of trouble coming up with the numbers in terms of how many families are searching for services, are able to secure services. The waiting lists, we're not getting
So
numbers
if
in Northern Ontario. in
If you're,
Timmins.
we have the very big privilege of working with many different organizations in town that support caregivers, and the one common theme is if the caregivers aren't supported and if the caregivers aren't in a healthy position, then you can't help the people that need the help.
Exactly.
Right? Because there's burnout, there's stress, and your own health gets affected.
Yes.
So this is true in our community, and you're getting together, you're helping people get together to talk about that to bring some change.
Yes,
That's incredible.
it's aiming high.
No,
it is.
it's aiming awesome.
I aim high.
And I think, yeah, exactly. I think sometimes every service needs
Like a bridge in between them so the parents and the adults know where to go. So if I'm supporting a person with an intellectual disability and they are starting out at 22 years old and they finally got the funding, how do you find a worker? How do you get a passport worker? We're letting families know that maybe we want to look into maybe getting that more out there, having more families come together, March breaks, going on trips, maybe going just to sit around and play basketball at the basketball court with 20 guys and get a hockey team together and go play out and have fun. Nobody is looking at you any different than who you are. You're out there to have fun. Ed talk about a trip, talk about doing things that community is involved. So families have an actual break. So we also are looking at the idea of respite care in Timmins, talking about maybe having a respite bed, a real respite bed. So somebody who has a higher development and they need just a bed for 3 or 4 nights. Person who's a nurse like Ed or a social worker who has the qualifications would go to the place with them, help them, work with them. And that's what we want.
So when we have, you know, an individual, look at our nice colors there, Kinsman. So when we have, Mark's gonna just help you out with your mic for a second there. Mark's our tech guy here.
Tech guy. There
We put him right on the spot there.
Okay,
There we go.
That's me.
You like that? Live internet TV.
Live. Ian in action
So,
here. Yeah.
is it true, and please correct me if I'm wrong, so if I'm a caregiver for a young child who has a developmental disability, there may be, and I won't call it adequate services, but there's services in place, but as my child grows, you know, into an adult, we're lacking the services. Am I saying this correctly, or am I way
It
off?
seems there's a lack of coordination.
Okay.
It's almost like the child gets the label, but then the parents, the families, caregivers are left to fend on their own, find services
that matches their-
supports on their own. I think 20 years ago, 15 years ago, there was more
out
there
there,
was more,
way more out there.
It was better organized, perhaps. There was more respite. There was more
Programs.
community involvement, or families got together more, and they shared in their
Fights.
responsibilities, support, just being there with other parents, like-minded, or parents who are living the same experiences.
You know?
Just that peer support
And they
network.
pulled all these types of programs away, or they just
Government. It's
lacked
government.
funding?
I think it's
for these
government funding,
programs?
right? It's government, and it's. I say it's government because the government needs to step up and start supporting more people who have learning disabilities. I'm not shy to say that I have a learning disability, and my mom and dad fought for me for years. You know, parents are getting to the age now that are 65 and over, and how do they fight for an individual who that is, if you don't have in place, who's going to take care of my kid when it gets older? You know, so that's the way we see it. So we want to bridge a gap in that, so the other agencies around us come into us and we meet and we start talking about this discussion. And then later on, maybe in the summertime, we'll have another event just for you, mental health. Talk about the mental health, but our area and how it lacks in mental health care, lacking lots of things with it. And that's what we want to do.
With more focus on the children's
Yeah,
sector.
sexual factor.
Yeah, like 18 and under.
Yeah.
That, you know, it is a beautiful thing you're doing, and I'm just following some of the comments that we're hearing online here of all the great work that you're doing. And it's awesome because you folks came with this idea, you're living it, and you're actually doing something about it.
Right.
Yeah.
We were sponsored, though, as well through Community Living Ontario.
Okay.
They gave us a grant to start this process. That helped us out, and it boosts our morale.
Morale.
Our-
Yeah, morale, kind of. And then you also had the people who used to work through CTRC in Timmins that were great supports in our lives before, who worked, that made us the people who we are now. Like if we don't have those people, those good workers, hey, you know, that's the way I see it. So everybody has a worker that they like. They always want to be there. But I think what it is we want to get that groove back in Timmins. We want to,
Get
you
the
know,
discussions back.
yeah, we want to
Yeah.
start
Timmins.
bringing them up. Like,
And to show
And-
that
and it
you know,
does seem-
families that are dealing with certain subjects know that they're not alone.
no,
That's
yeah.
right.
And again,
There did seem
and
to
they
be
can
more services,
lean
though,
on
too.
shoulders in
Absolutely.
this city to
I've been there or he's been
and be
there.
a part of these discussion groups
Yeah.
at the same time.
Because it seems these days, if you want support services for the one you're looking after with a developmental disability, you're almost placed in a position where you have to become an advocate from the time the child is diagnosed. You're placed in that position.
You're placed in that position, but you do deserve a network of people around you.
Yes.
And whether it's professional people in the field, a community of people who are going to have similar questions and similar issues and similar successes.
Yeah, they can draw on
And-
other people's experiences
Yes,
as well.
yes.
That's what we're talking about.
And that can make the world a difference.
Yes.
And I think since, we're going to use a word we don't like to use on here, but I think, since COVID, a lot of us went into our shell. We were
Yep.
forced into a shell, and then it took a long time to get out of that shell.
Right.
So we got used to fending for ourselves and looking after our own. And what you're doing is sort of breaking that trend. You're getting people out publicly to talk.
Get them back into these discussion groups again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
So breaking that isolation, because it does seem that there is some reluctance for families to come
together.
forward, to come together, because perhaps partly because of the pandemic.
And I think
what it did to people. And
it pushed
families.
us all in. It pushed us all in that block where, hey, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to have that discussion because I see like I'm the only parent dealing with it.
Right.
My niece has been dealing with this for 7 years and I can't talk about it because, I don't have that right. Well, you do have a right because you're still a caregiver in that circle. Everybody has a caregiver circle. To this day, my mom and dad are still in my circle. I still have people who are like Ed. I wouldn't have met Ed if it wasn't for my advocacy work in ADHD. And I still continue fight for what I believe in. I've bowled for years. I have helped friends who have learning disabilities with children talk about the discussion of guardianship, talk about the Henson funds, talk about tax credit, bring somebody in and say, okay, let's have that discussion.
And start early.
And start early.
Absolutely.
Not at 18. It should be started at 16. At 17, your funding stops. All government funding stops until you put that application in for ODSP and passport. And if they qualify for passport, that's the thing. If you qualify for it, you'll get it. But you don't know if you'll get it.
Right.
So these families are out there, going to buy arts and crafts, they're trying to get their kids active again. But meanwhile, they're sitting on a wait list that crunches that.
And so passport is, and once again, correct me if I'm wrong, but passport is financial assistance for the individual either to join an activity, go out and do, like it can be
Yes.
for a wide variety of
things.
recreational
We can
type of things.
we can get a bus together and say, okay, next year, September, Economy Police are doing an open game. Let's go down there, bring everybody on a bus. Everybody pays a certain amount. That's covered through passport. Your tickets are covered.
Right. Or do like you guys did last October.
Yep.
I think,
Go to a Halloween
down
thing.
Toronto.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah.
While I was at work, I heard about that. I was like, wow. I was like, that's a wonderful idea.
So we have a handsome young fellow here by the name of Ronnie who's an
We're
advocate.
working our board.
Who's an advocate for Special Olympic athletes.
Yes.
Ronnie's a decorated Special Olympian and he's also an advocate. I think it would be a wonderful addition as you move forward to have someone like Ronnie who's excellent with people, strong communicator, and can advocate at a level that, you need a piece from each side of the story.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
And maybe I would always promote Ronnie.
I know Ronnie.
Yeah, everyone knew, like
Everybody
but-
knows
but-
Ronnie.
But
He
Ronnie,
used to bug me when I used to go bowling all the time.
but I don't want his head to get too big because
Yeah,
he's
don't
not getting
swell.
a raise.
Don't inflate it.
But Ronnie has a very special way of communicating with people that they feel comfortable.
Exactly.
And so that, as you move forward, would be a beautiful addition to have someone who can speak on all sides of the story.
Good. I agree.
I agree
Absolutely.
totally agree.
We'll even give Ronnie the night off.
There you go.
You can come, Ronnie.
There you go. So once again, let's talk about the dates and times.
The big dates, yeah. March 4th and 5th, Timmins Public Library.
Yeah.
And there's no strings attached. Just show up.
No, just show up and talk and have a discussion. You got 50 minutes on the floor. John and Anna Ams are going to be there. My parents are going to be there. I'm going to have my mom and dad be there because they support me in the decision of me and Ed doing this partnership. We want community event people. Come out, just say, I got a problem, or how do we fix this? And if we don't know about it, we're going to research it. We're going to find out.
Discuss what
Or
works, what doesn't work.
What doesn't work,
and see from
what has
there,
worked
right?
for you, what has worked for you. How did you get your child into doing all these programs when I'm struggling just to get my child to play a ball or do anything, or an adult to get anything that they get? What if that one parent in that room helps that one parent that has never even thought about doing that decision? Or branching out and saying, I'm going to bring Ronnie in tonight, and he's going to talk for me all night for me because that's what Ronnie likes doing, or his sports or something.
Right.
He's involved with. He has a learning disability. That's what we want to see in the community. I want people to be proud that you have an actual disability and not close in. We shouldn't be hiding. We're out here. We want to be proud. And, you know, like, he's worked in the homes for years. He's not hiding from anybody either, you know? We're not hiding.
Oh God, to be
Decades into this field, yeah. We've seen all kinds of
we
transitions.
have, and it's an amazing privilege working with the Special Olympics group.
Yes.
We have
Super
met,
tie here in this
we have
area.
met some of the most beautiful, caring, giving people that we've ever met in our life, and just a perfect example how our society should be when we're flooded with negativity. And
Yes.
Yes.
everyone at one point of their life needs an advocate. You know, even myself.
Need a good old boost.
I
and,
needed
some
my
good
mom to
morale.
stick up with me so many times, and now you know I can't let Kinsman bully me because my mom makes me strong.
Well, I've taken the dare course.
I've taken the dare
I
course.
don't bully anyone.
But having someone advocate for you, there's no shame in that at all because we've all been in a point of their life when we all put our hands up
Yeah.
where we need someone to help us out and speak
Yep.
on our behalf. And what you folks are doing is a
Yes.
very beautiful thing.
Yes.
And putting people on that pedestal so they can share their stories and, you know.
They're not hearing the stories because they're sitting in a, sorry to say this, but they're sitting in an office and all they're doing is taking the number and going, da 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 da, your number. And that's what I don't want parents to be heard that. I want to hear what you've been through to get to this point. And so
Because where the government seems to be saying their funding as well is more towards individualized plans, individualized funding. So they're wanting more family involvement. They're wanting more input from the individuals receiving the
Yes.
services. So I like that idea. I like that idea of more, the families more involved in decision making and bringing up where services
are lacking,
could go.
and where they're lacking. And having parents be a part of an agency or saying, okay, I'm a mom. I've had I've had that experience. I want to sit in your committee. I want to be a part of that because I'm helping you advocate for your child or an adult with an intellectual disabilities. We want to talk about those things. We're in Northern Ontario. Who do you think hears about us?
Right.
You know, like seriously. I have groups I follow from North Bay, Toronto. There's a podcast for intellectual disabilities. There's a private group for advocacy, and all across. I'm a part of that. I got him to join them.
There's 11 or so
11 of groups in Timmins with special
on
needs.
Facebook alone that involves in different services for
So
special needs, exceptionality.
If someone is listening tonight or shares the message that wants to get involved, so the first step you can join the group at the library.
yes, it's an open. It's
Open mic.
The open mic.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
about folks that may or may not be able to join the event at the library? Is there someone that they can call, email, reach out to?
I have
Facebook page or
yeah,
an email?
I have a group. It's a group that I've been keeping for about a few years.
Okay.
So the group is called Immediate Services Supports for Individuals with Adults with 18 with a Disability. So we want you to come there and be invited yourself. I have 450 people right now, 150 people. The reason why I started it was because of Claire Cote. She used to work at CTRC. I started that group just so we had a little bit of a push where we needed to go for people who are 18. And then that's it. And then I have the ADHD group that follows. I've had that for 14 years, advocating for mental health services in Timmins. So I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed to give you my email, my phone number, or say, pick up the phone and call me, or inbox me. I can be there in a flash. He can be in there in a flash if you need us, you know.
We will. We're going to grab the link for your Facebook group, and we're going to
Yeah,
share
we'll toss that up there in the thread.
in the comments because I think that's a great way to start the communication.
Yes.
A very public forum. Was there anything else you folks wanted to mention that we haven't had an opportunity
say
to
that
dive into? Yeah.
I got a quote from a friend. She wanted to give it to me today.
Yeah.
And I thought this was pretty. She says, every parent plans to raise a child for about 18 years, set free of 30 years, and then hope they come back with help with to face the final years of their own life. A special needs parent plans to raise their child for 65 years while doing also preparing for another 20 or so after themselves as long go. Let that sink in just a moment, and will you begin to understand the drive and determination of many of us who, while we here on earth, if you have never thought about it, don't be sorry. I'm thankful.
That's beautifully said. Yeah. So let's begin the process to help support the caregivers and the family members. It is a big deal.
It is a big deal. And these two amazing advocates here at Studio 67 tonight, Anna and Amanda, spearheading this. And again, you're doing this all on your own time.
Yes.
This is just, you know,
Absolutely.
and if you want to get more help,
Come and see us. Come and see us.
reach out to you
Come
and
see
they
us.
can help you out.
And the thing about it is, if we can get the numbers, if we can show generate interest, then we can approach other people, other agencies out of town.
Because we don't get the numbers, we
bigger
don't.
picture,
We want to show the bigger picture. I want to show
Developmental Services Ontario.
Yeah.
Now, you know, they're interested in what's going on in Northern Ontario right now. Journey to Belonging, they're interested in
doing things.
in seeing where things are at. You know, they want to hear from our northern voices. So this is our way of saying,
We're here.
let's give it a shot.
Yeah, why not?
Give it a
Well,
shot.
it's the first step in a beautiful direction. So,
Yeah, it certainly is.
okay, we're gonna have a little bit of fun. I don't know if
Okay,
you've
good.
ever seen what we call the Wheel
The
of Winning.
Wheel of Winning.
And so Ronnie's gonna put up the overlay here. He was gonna get excited with the wheel video, but tonight, Kinsman, 2 Camp Bickell
Yeah,
toques.
2 Camp
nice.
Bickell toques and a family pass to Midtown Bowl.
Now watch how
Up to
much
6
fun
bowling.
here,
Yeah, this is
Ronnie.
fun.
Roll the video. All right, so it's Wheel of Winning time.
Wheel of Winning
Wheel
time.
of Winning's
Yes.
going wonky. So anyone who made a comment on the show tonight is automatically entered into the prize, and Ronnie will activate the wheel.
The Wheel of Winning.
nice.
And we will reach out to the winner, and of course the winner can reach out to us, and we'll drop off your passes.
Nice.
There, Lynn Draper.
Lynn Draper.
That's right. And so Lynn Draper's a winner tonight.
Yes.
I also see Lynn commented saying, listen, I've won some comedy tickets for the Timmins
Yes,
Comedy Festival."
those tickets are still coming via email.
Yes, you will get your tickets this week.
We haven't forgotten about you. Klomp's not going to the show without you.
That's
on
right.
Lynn's behalf.
So
Those
whoever
tickets
won
are
those
coming to you.
tickets, but we'll make connection with Lynn tomorrow.
Yeah, we certainly will.
DM us your address. So that's the Wheel of Winning.
Cool.
What do you think?
I won the Halloween tickets off you guys the one year.
Yeah.
Great. I got front row seats to it. It was great.
That is awesome. Well, we wanted to thank you both for coming
Yes.
Thanks for having us.
on. Once we say, you folks are superheroes in our community.
Thanks.
Now, they say not all heroes wear capes.
Do they? Have you guys heard that saying before?
Yes.
Yes, we have.
Do you like it?
I'm staying behind.
Kinsman says he invented it. I don't believe
No,
it.
I didn't invent it. I like tossing it around.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Wow,
again,
it is
you know,
true.
you two are doing tremendous work. And again,
thank
if you can create a little army here in the city, and you
would
know,
be great.
let's see how far this grows.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having us.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
for having us.
Tomorrow night, we are live from O'Gorman High School.
Yeah, we're going to O'Gorman.
It is the
big
Great
night.
8 open house. It's going to be loud. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we may start the show even a little bit early.
A little bit
Kinsman.
earlier,
Maybe
yeah.
at 6:30.
We'll set things up tomorrow.
Yeah, but you
It'll
will
be fun.
catch us live 6:30 to 8. We'll be on a regular time, but we may pop in a little bit early. And O'Gorman High School.
O'Gorman
I
High.
told
You're
them
wearing
today.
your O'Gorman green.
I told them one of the students asked me why I was there, and I said I'm part of the Jump Street program. Yeah. We all laughed, but he had no idea what I was talking
I
about.
have no clue, but
Yeah, you know what the Jump
sounds like
Street-
you were talking. No, what is that?
You don't know what Jump Street 21 and Jump Street 20 Johnny Depp?
No, I know Johnny Depp. Yeah,
Do you know the Jump Street movies?
I do. Yeah,
It doesn't sound like you do, kid. They're probably-
very vague.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny, they were older cops that went into the high school as undercover as students, but they looked over. You haven't seen the movie Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill?
No, I have not seen that.
Well, someone find The Rock. Look, embarrassing, eh?
Yeah. Movies are
Think
out there.
time to go on a binge.
Yeah.
Yeah, time to go on a binge. All right.
Time to go on a binge watch.
So you never got that reference either. Anyways, we'll see if the joke works tomorrow night. Good night, everyone.
Thanks.
Dime si quieres arriesgarte, si te lo juegas todo amor, dime si apuestas por desamor. Te invito a que vueles conmigo y perdamos la razón. Esa es la aventura que vivimos. Disfrutemos la ocasión que tú me das. Todo lo que llevas dentro, que fue lo mejor, que nos separara el tiempo. Que si te vas, yo te juro que me muero. No quiero perderte ahora que por fin te encuentro. Dime si quieres arriesgarte, si te lo juegas todo, amor. Dime si apuestas por nosotros, que solo somos tú y yo. Dime si juntos llegaremos a enloquecernos por amor. Te necesito aquí a mi lado, no te vayas, por favor. Entra dentro de mi juego, baby, ven, súbeme al cielo, que no me puedo resistir. Dame un te quiero sincero, dime que sí te espero, que yo sé que eres para mí. No, dime si quieres arriesgarte, si te lo juegas todo, amor. Dime si apuestas por nosotros, que solo somos tú y yo. Dime si juntos llegaremos a enloquecernos por amor. Te necesito aquí a mi lado, no te vayas, por favor. Dime si quieres arriesgarte, si te lo juegas todo, amor. Dime si apuestas por nosotros, que solo somos tú y yo. Dime si juntos llegaremos a enloquecernos por amor. Te necesito aquí a mi lado, no te vayas, por favor. Siento que el calor corre en mis venas, ya me late el corazón. Yo que pensé que no sentiría desde el último desamor. Te invito a que vueles conmigo y perdamos la razón. Esa es la aventura que vivimos.